The IEEE said this: the human brain handles the instantaneous calculations and actions involved in rush hour driving on the equivalent of 20 watts of power. So picture, the closest thing I can think of is a light bulb in your refrigerator. About 20, maybe even less than that, 20 watts of power, not very much power. And of course, the human brain weighs just a little over 3 pounds, and it could fit not so neatly in a handbag. Now, they didn't say not so neatly, they just said neatly. By contrast, right now, the supercomputer that comes closest to replicating a human's ability to drive in rush hour traffic, get this now, the supercomputer that comes closest to replicating a human's ability to drive in rush hour traffic weighs 227 metric tons and requires a diet of about 3 megawatts, or 3 million watts. Picture the power required to operate an aircraft carrier. With $40 million from a U.S. defense agency and an army of electrical engineers, materials scientists, biologists, neuroscientists, computer scientists, nanotechnology researchers, and more, they hope to have a human-scale brain simulation that would be 20 billion neurons connected by 200 trillion synapses by 2019. However, think about it. If powering a supercomputer to replicate what a human brain does navigating through traffic requires 3 megawatts, imagine trying to recreate everything else that a human brain does. Regulate the heartbeat, the breathing, dream, think, imagine, create, write poetry, write songs, do all kinds of things at once. How much power would that require? Even taking into account technology trends, you know, this IBM's making futuristic prognostications, IBM projects that the 2019 human-scale simulation, if they could ever make it, running in real time, would require, in order to power it, a dedicated nuclear power plant. Can you imagine? To build a brain that would replicate what your little 3-pound brain does on 20 watts of power would require not only all these scientists and engineers and computer programmers, etc., but a nuclear power plant to power it. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. When we consider something as complex as the human eye, with a lens that refracts or bends the light waves, with adjustments for distance and quantity of light, with provisions for its protection, a bony socket, eyelids, eyebrows, ouch, I just poked my eye, tears, eyes connected by nerves to a brain which can interpret its signals. The evidence of a designer becomes crystal clear. Now, those who tell themselves, in an effort to deny the existence of a creator, that such wonders could have developed by chance, are doing violence to the very reasoning skills which they employ every single day. For example, if you're hiking through the northwest of the United States, you will come upon mountains and rivers, great pasture lands, valleys, all of which, however they got there, you may think, could have been shaped into their present form by natural processes. Okay, I can see where the river flowed here and caused this canyon, and I can see how these mountains formed by erosion. I don't know how the original ones got there, but I can see evidence of erosion on this mountain. But if you round a bend and you see a mountain, the shape of which forms the images of Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt, you will probably deduce that something more than the natural processes of wind, rain, and erosion has been at work. Now, could you deny the evidence of your senses and your store of information about cause and effect? Could you deny that and conclude that given sufficient years and the power of wind and rain, and given the huge number of mountains on the earth, it's possible that one of them should happen to bear a striking resemblance to 4 former U.S. presidents by chance? You could conclude that. Would it be a reasonable conclusion based upon the evidence? No. But if you doggedly maintain that you believe that those images were the result of blind natural forces, we would probably surmise that something other than objective reason was at work in your mind. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God.